What's up everybody, Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make one of the FM bass stabs from Odd Mob's remix of Palm of My Hands by summt. Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. So as a reminder, please go ahead and give this video a like, and if you are new here, please remember to subscribe to my channel. I feel like Odd Mob is known for his really cool bass stabs, FM bass stabs, or just other variations of these big sounds that happen in the drops of his songs. This one has a lot of them throughout the whole track. And there's a couple in the first drop. I feel like there's just a few bass stab things that are happening in the first drop. And the second drop, it has this really cool, growly, long FM bass stab that I thought was really interesting. And that is the one that I wanted to show you. It's the one that happens in the second drop. So let me play it with the track. And then it also goes down a bit lower. It sounds a bit not as high pitched. The second time there. So let me go ahead and just play that again by itself without the audio in case that gets copyrighted. Now, if you're familiar with FM sounds, you can identify that the FM amount is increasing through the length of that sound. This was something that took me a while to figure out because I knew that that was happening, but I wasn't exactly sure how to achieve that. And I'll walk you through the whole process. And then the second one is a bit like that. So let's go ahead and break this down from scratch. Let me go ahead and create a new, let me change the color so I know which one I'm working with. And for this first one, I actually added a bit of a pitch bend here on the MIDI. I don't know if there was a pitch bend, but for some reason it just sounded a bit better when I added that pitch bend in. There must have been something happening at the beginning, initial hit of that sound that I wasn't able to achieve, but adding in the pitch bend added a bit of that amount. But the second time that it happens, I took out the pitch bend because I didn't feel like it wasn't, I don't know, it felt more similar without the pitch bend the second time it happens. So I don't know what was going on, why I liked that pitch bend on this first one with the higher pitch. But for that pitch bend, I have the amounts at 1 and -1. So let me go ahead and just initialize this preset, and I'll walk you through how I created this from scratch. Now let's go ahead and put the voicing onto mono. And like I said, when you do initialize the preset, it puts it at 2 and -2 for these pitch bend amounts. So I just did -1 and 1. And then the envelope, I just slowed down the attack a bit, just added a bit of a release. Just some minor changes for that attack. If you have this attack too tight, then you might get a click sound at the beginning. So let's do it around there, maybe around 20 or so. Then for my oscillator A, so I will do a basic shapes, sine wave. Let's take down the randomness, raise up this level. And I will take down the octave to -2. Eventually I will do an FM from B. Now at the moment you won't be able to hear this because I'm playing the note pretty low on the keyboard. Now you can copy this over. Let me just copy this over. But I'm not going to do a basic shapes sine wave. I'm going to change it a bit by adding in this analog BD sine. And this is how I was able to achieve a bit of a closer tone to the original sound. And I'll raise up this wavetail position to about 80. And this octave, I will do +1. So we've got a difference of 3 octaves in between these two oscillators. A lot of times when you are doing FM, you'll take the level down, but I actually found that if I leave this level up, it helps with the sound. Now I'll go back to oscillator A, go to my FM from B, and let's go ahead and raise that up to about there. Let's do 32. Now you can start to hear that like buzziness happening with the higher pitch. So let me take down this level. And you can hear that that doesn't exist without that oscillator B turned on. So that's why I have this level all the way up. A lot of times when you're doing FM sounds, you just end up taking down this level because you don't need it. Now, like I was saying, I do want to increase the FM throughout the length of this whole stab. So to do that, I'm going to use this alpha 1, set the mode to envelope, and set the rate to 4 bars. That's going to make it pretty long, and give it a slight curve there, give it a nice bend there. Then this alpha 1, I will assign to the FM from B, and let's set this to around there. So there you hear it's that FM sound increasing. Then I added on let's add on the low 18 filter for A and B. Set this around there. Assign this alpha 1 to the cutoff. Adjust that modulation, take up the resonance pretty high. Let's do about 44%. And take up the drive a bit. That adds a bit of like a wow or a nasally sound to it. Now let's head into the effects section, and I will add on a high 24 filter, setting the cutoff around 175, the resonance pretty high, the drive up, and that's going to give us a bit more distortion out of the sound. Then I will add on this multiband compressor. Threshold is around -16.6. Ratio, turn this up to limit. Here's my attack, release, and gain. And then just make sure I have multiband turned on. Now for these bands, they'll usually be like around 100 when you initialize this, but I had set these to 130, 25, and 25. So I'm taking down all of the mid-range, all of the low end, and just emphasizing all the top end. And it's starting to get louder as this FM amount increases. You can see this clipping up here. Then I will add on this hard clip distortion. And this alpha 1, I want the distortion to increase. So I'll just assign this alpha 1 to the drive and then also to the mix. So I'll do the amounts about 25 for each of these. And that helps control the level a bit more as well. Then I want to take off the low end. Don't really need a low end in there. And I might also just assign this alpha 1 to the frequency. And that gives it almost like a washout effect. Like if you're going to do a washout where you have some reverb and some EQ, you can automate the frequency, like a low cut frequency up. It creates that effect. I don't want it that intense. I'll set it to about 15. And let's get to this reverb now. And that's really it for this effects and for this sound. Now I'm going to click on this mix knob, and to control the level, because it gets louder as I increase the FM, I will do this alpha 1, assign it to this level. Let's do shift option, click it so it goes unipolar only one way. And I will take this down to about -20 or so. And now as the FM amount increases using this alpha 1, the level will decrease, and this will just help maintain more of a level sound. Like that. So that's how you get that higher part. Now let me show you how to do the lower part. Now at first I thought, okay, I just take down this note an octave lower. By the way, the note I have playing is a E flat. But actually what I need to do is lower the octave on this oscillator B. And what I'll do is I'll just go to this macro knob, assign it to the octave here. Let's do, actually that looks good. Let's go ahead and raise this macro knob all the way up. See where it switches over. And that's how you get that lower sound. You just lower the octave of this oscillator B. And all I would have to do now in the track is just automate this macro knob and just go to configure, click on the macro knob so that you can automate it, and then you can automate it up and down. Now let's just show the automation here. Let's do click on this macro knob 1. For some reason I'm doing macro knob 3. And then we can automate this macro knob up for the second time that it happens to 100%. And that's how you do that FM stab. There's also like a hit that happens before that, and I was trying to think of how to create that hit. Let me see if I can play it. That to me just sounds like a really big tom sound. I think that depends on the sound that you have, the samples that you have. So just find like a tom, like a big tom hit, and then you can start that off to create that impact at the beginning and then play this FM stab. If you do want to grab this preset, I will put it in my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. And if you'd like to check out any of my Serum preset packs, head on over to store.samsmyers.com.